Conference USA moves from 10 to 11 with the Delaware Fightin Blue Hens. The University of Delaware has a 24,000 enrollment, a $1.8 billion endowment, and is ranked number 76 in U.S. News. The University of Delaware is located in the number 4 media market, 45 miles from Philly, and it's only 1 mile from Maryland, 2 miles from Pennsylvania, and 15 miles from New Jersey. The Blue Hens play in the 18,500-seat Delaware Stadium, and a couple months back, the Delaware News-Journal reported the behind-the-scenes effort by Delaware to raise money for a pricey project to enclose the north end of Delaware Stadium attached to a massive indoor practice structure with locker rooms and offices for several teams is ongoing. Delaware has still not announced it publicly as it pursues large financial promises to cover a significant portion of what might be a $100 million undertaking. Delaware has won 6 national titles in its history, various small college division, D2, and D1 AA national championships. They won their national titles in 1946, 63, 71, 72, 79, and 03, and all the schools they beat en route to those national championships are listed. Over the last 25 years, Delaware has watched regional schools they were once in a football conference with move on to FBS. Delaware's former regional football conference mates include UConn, who they were conference mates with from 86 to 96 in the Yankee Conference and 97 to 99 in A10 football, UMass, who they were conference mates with in the Yankee Conference from 86 to 96, and then A10 football from 97 to 06, and CAA football from 07 to 11. Old Dominion, who they were briefly CAA football conference mates with in 2011 and 2012, but overall in the whole CAA, they were conference mates with Old Dominion from 2001 to 2013. And finally, James Madison, they were conference mates in the Yankee Conference from 93 to 96, then A10 football from 97 to 06, and CAA football from 07 to 21. 4 schools Delaware played historically today reside in FBS. Delaware played UConn 27 times in the back half of the 20th century. Delaware played UMass 28 times from 1980 to 2011. Delaware and Temple met annually from 1954 to 1985. And Delaware and James Madison had 25 meetings since 1991. Delaware sees schools they might consider regional peers now at the group of 5 level. The company you keep is a big driver of realignment, and Delaware wants the perception to be that they play football at the same level as some of the schools they might consider regional peers. It's about marketing and student recruitment, which is getting tougher and tougher with looming enrollment cliffs in terms of the number of high school graduates that attend college available. And a university administrator doesn't want to hand a free marketing or exposure advantage to schools they might compete against for students. Delaware sees regional flagships like UConn, UMass, and Buffalo, who are also all ranked in the top 76 of U.S. News like Delaware, playing at the G5 level. Additionally, Delaware sees nearby schools like top 100 in U.S. News Temple playing at the G5 level, and James Madison, who is top 125 in U.S. News, playing at the G5 level. Another factor is that Delaware gets that guarantee of national TV certainty in FBS. In CAA football, the games are on Flow Sports and regional sports networks, so Delaware would likely have 0 conference games on national linear TV, although on the flip side, CAA football would offer the option for all Saturday games. The Conference USA TV contract, on the other hand, has 18 games on CBS Sports Network and 8 games on ESPN linear TV. The rest are on ESPN+. So Delaware would be very likely to have 4 conference games on national linear TV. Now, the sacrifice of that is that Delaware would likely have 4 games on weeknights all in October, but the administration has determined that 4 weeknight games are worth it for that national linear TV exposure. So the strategy behind Delaware's Conference USA move is that Delaware really wants to be FBS for perception, exposure, and revenue growth. Perception, they want to be seen at the same level as regional peers like UConn, UMass, Temple, Buffalo, and James Madison. For exposure, they'll have a certainty of more games on national linear TV. And for revenue growth, they'll have more revenue streams like a cut of the CFP, more media revenue, etc. And Conference USA is currently Delaware's only available path to FBS. So Delaware is fine with rolling the dice and hoping that leaping to FBS now positions them for their destination league later, as opposed to waiting in FCS and risking never getting their invite to that destination conference. Here are the athletic revenues of Conference USA schools. The publics were using the Knight Commission on Intercollegiate Athletics database. And then since that only has publics, for privates, we're going to use the Department of Education's Equity and Athletics database. Delaware's Knight Commission data is a few years out of date, but is likely very close to that number today. And Delaware's $48 million in athletic revenues would be second in Conference USA behind only Liberty. In fact, if we delve into that Knight Commission database, there are only 2 FCS publics with athletic revenues over $40 million, and they are Delaware at $48 million and UC Davis at above $44 million. Here are the football expenses of Conference USA. The Sportico database only has the public schools who have been FBS, and then the EADA, which is the Department of Education, Equity, and Athletics database, has everyone. However, Sportico's database is generally more accurate, but doesn't have the privates or the recent FBS move-ups. We will look at the EADA, and Delaware's $7.9 million in football expenses are above the 3 recent FBS move-ups and would rank 122nd in FBS currently, despite Delaware playing at the FCS level. In fact, going further into that EADA database, the highest FCS publics in terms of football expenses, number 1 was Montana State, and number 2 was Delaware. Obviously, the best measure would be to isolate each school's athletically related student aid money from the football budget, but that data isn't publicly available by sport. So given the data we have to work with, once again, Delaware looks budget ready for FBS. Now, men's basketball expenses. The top row is Sportico, but once again, they only have the public FBS schools, not even the recent moves ups. The second row is the Department of Education, Equity and Athletics, EADA, which is not as accurate as Sportico, but it does have all the schools. And Delaware's $2.94 million budget in men's basketball would be smack in the middle of Conference USA and 161st in Division I. So Delaware had an athletic budget that was right near the top of Conference USA, a football budget that was in the bottom half, but above all the recent FBS call-ups, and then a men's basketball budget that was right in the middle. Now looking at ticket sales, donor contributions, sponsorships / advertising, and then combining those 3 into a made-up term, self-generated revenue, using the Knight Commission on Intercollegiate Athletics database, Delaware's $1.64 million in ticket sales would rank 3rd in Conference USA behind only UTEP in Western Kentucky, and their overall self-generated revenue would rank above 3 schools in Conference USA. Now, once again, the data for Delaware on the Knight Commission is like 3 years out of date, but I would imagine that the numbers are still close to what they were 3 years ago. On the other hand, the numbers for everyone else were up to date as of the 21-22 school year. Now, looking at the 5-year reported attendance, for whatever that's worth, most of these numbers are from the D1 ticker. Whoever the D1 ticker couldn't get, I manually calculated. And Delaware has a 5-year attendance average of 15,177, which would once again put them right in the middle of Conference USA. Looking at the 10-year Sagarin rankings, Delaware would be 133rd if you're taking the 135 current or future FBS teams only. Now, these 10-year Sagarin rankings did not incorporate 2023, and Liberty is ranked number 20 in the AP poll. New Mexico State is number 32 in the AP poll, and Delaware is number 12 in FCS. Here are the 10-year KenPom averages, and Delaware would be 230th in Division I, which would rank 9th of 11 in Conference USA. Delaware will be moving from the CAA, which is 21st in KenPom, to Conference USA, which is 12th in KenPom. And Conference USA current schools have 4 NCAA tournament wins over the past decade, so there should be more money made in NCAA tournament credits. The next thing we have to look forward to is who's number 12 in Conference USA. The 4 most likely candidates appear to be UMass, Tarleton State, Missouri State, and Stephen F. Austin. I believe Matt Brown has indicated that he believes UMass will end up being number 12, but he hasn't reported it yet. Tarleton State has really invested in their facilities, and They're another school in Texas. The Missouri State president recently said that he thinks the school will be FBS in time. Whether they'd be willing to take a Conference USA invite right now, who knows? And Stephen F. Austin would give Conference USA a fourth tailor-made rivalry with the Stephen F. Austin, Sam Houston State to add on to 100 Miles of Hate, Kennesaw State versus Jacksonville State, and then the Battle of I-10, New Mexico State and UTEP. The CAA is down to 13, 6 schools in the north and 7 schools in the south. Another thing we have to look forward to is who's number 14 in the CAA. Fairfield, Albany, Quinnipiac, or High Point. High Point's men's basketball budget is top 120 in D1 and would actually lead the CAA. High Point opened a new $170 million arena a few years ago. However, a northern slot is open, and High Point is a southern school, which might automatically eliminate them. So with a northern slot open, Fairfield, Albany, Quinnipiac, or some school not listed here is probably a better bet. But another dynamic to consider is, have we reached the point where we can ask, can the SoCon poach a UDELA CAA? In football conference rankings the past 3 years, the SoCon has been 5th, 4th, and 5th in Sagarin, while the CAA football has been 4th, 5th, and 4th in Sagarin. In men's basketball over the last 3 years, the SoCon has been 10th, 12th, and 20th in net, while the CAA has been 16th, 14th, and 26th in net. But on the flip side, it would cost the school $1 million to leave the CAA, and the CAA also has a presence in the Northeast, which might be appealing to some schools who might be thinking about moving to the SoCon. I would not bet money on these things happening, but it's worth discussing, and that is the potential threats to a UDELA CAA. Will the A-10 pluck College of Charleston? That's been rumored, but not credibly reported as of yet. Could the Patriot League make a run at Northeastern and William & Mary? While the Patriot League would be academically appealing to William & Mary, it probably would not serve their athletic interests. And can the SoCon poach some combination of William & Mary, Elon, and UNCW? Now, William & Mary might only leave the CAA as a last resort, as they prefer playing Richmond and Villanova in football. But the question is, at which point does William & Mary consider it their last resort? I would say not yet, but with each loss and Delaware leaving, it's getting closer and closer.